Is everyone here sitting down? Yes. It's getting hotter and hotter here. What's going on in Russia? But I hope everyone is ready. It's going to be 4 hours, but this class is also going to be a lot of workshops, so I would like also you to really participate after this. We're going to start with a brief exercise. And I hope everyone has a post-it. I see some already put it on the head, which is a very nice place to put it. And a pen. We need a pen as well, so you can draw on it. Everyone has pens?
No. There are pens up there in the box. Maybe you can divide them.
Who needs a pen? Okay. Who doesn't have a pen? You? Anyone? Pens? Everyone got one? Excellent. Okay. So, today we're going to translate the text to visuals. So it will be a long search for everyone for looking for the right images. We all do this online later on, so you can do this wherever you want to as well. But it would be nice to stay a bit close so we get it a bit central, so we can walk around and help you guys looking for the images, and if you have any questions, so we can really help you on an individual level. So, unique communication. Assignment 1, and we're going to start with this very quickly, is draw a coffee logo. How does a coffee logo look like? So you actually have 2 minutes, all of you, and go for it. Coffee logo, like a coffee brand, you know, like
Yeah, on the
what
process.
you think. What? Just coffee, like for a coffee shop. Not a Dutch coffee shop, but normal coffee shop. Just draw it quickly. 2 minutes. Don't think too much about it. Just do whatever you think is a coffee logo. You know, go for it. That's very interesting there in the corner. Someone putting it on the iPad and nice. Just drawing. Yeah. Google Images, coffee logo, draw.
Don't do it.
Just a quick experiment.
Okay, 1 minute. Yeah.
Okay, still see some people. Now I would like you, we're all wrapping up, I would like you to put the logo here, just in rows, all together. So I think maybe we can collect it too, but if a couple of people will help us collecting
right
it.
now. So stop drawing.
Then post it, on the post-it. Okay, is everything already up there? Yeah? Okay. This is just so everyone can sit down again. So the similarities. I saw a lot of you made beans, coffee beans. But if you look at this kind of collection here, you see a lot of round shapes, and it's a kind of subconscious way that we think about coffee. You know, it's a kind of an obvious way to think. And it is a cliche. It is something that someone came up with, and we think it is part of the language that a coffee logo should look like. And sometimes cliches are useful, and sometimes they are not. And that is the fact when it comes to a coffee logo. Because if you are starting your own company, your brand, you don't want your coffee logo to look like any other logo that is around, because you will not differentiate. So here you go. Coffee is always round. Starbucks. Yeah. So Starbucks, how is this made? Name, other text, nice illustration in the middle. So I went traveling around the world, and I saw that they were not alone. And it goes on, and these are all photographed by me. So I think, what's going on? Why is it all round and why is it all the same? They're all copying each other. Yeah, it's not a coffee shop now. It's real coffee, guys. And then to Taipei. In one day, I found 21 of those. And they are all different shops. And they all want to look like, oh, we have our own identity. But in the end, they all look the same. So it's a kind of a weird way that people do the first thing and then stick to it. And like that, you can't really make a unique visual. Yeah, that's the nicest coffee. Very black. Yeah. Exactly, it's the coffee cup. So it also works as a kind of a recognizable fact. But if you want to differentiate, if you really want to be different, and you want to, you have to. Oh, they will find you. I think so. It's crazy. It's crazy. And this is our founder, Hans. So, why is coffee always round? This one is the only square I can find. Yeah, only Einstein did it. So even. So, I just wanted to teach you that something you make straight away here is kind of a cliche thinking. So, what you do as a person, and you also do this with research, you go through the kind of obvious rules first, and then you go through kind of a process and you come to something unique. And that's what we are trying to do with you guys today. We were going to look for images. So the assignment for today is, yesterday you chose a topic, you chose a name, and you wrote a short descriptive text about this kind of topic. And you made a list of keywords related to your text. So today we're going to get the A1 poster, which is here. And we are going to put these words and text down, and you probably have to write it all, because I would love to have had it printed, but there's only one printer in this building, so that will be chaos. So I suggest that you divide it in 4 because we're going to use it tomorrow as well, so you can see the kind of thought process that you go through when you are making visuals to words, to text, to tell a story. So you divide it in 4, very easy, and then you write down the topic. That's what you did yesterday, but we actually have to do that today to start with. So you write it in the first kind of quarter. And that's basically it. And after you're done, you've had a whole set of keywords, hopefully. You pick 3 keywords that you think are the most important to your story. So it's very important. It's very, you need to think about it because they need to be unique kind of keywords. So something that really stands out for the character of your project. And if you have any questions or you, yeah, that's the first one.
Should it be 3 words or collocations also?
3 words. Just 3 words, like, I don't know, useful, fun, and technical. I don't know. Something that really describes it to the core what you're trying to tell in your story. So here we go. And I would say, I think it's nice to make a whole line in the hallway where you guys can just do this quickly. And so do a poster for poster. So we probably end up maybe at the end of the building, other people working there. And then we can walk by and really help you guys getting the 3 keywords out. So let's start.
You have 20 minutes. So right now I clock it. It's 15:18. So be back in 20 minutes.
Листы 1, все пошли брать. Можно пройти, пожалуйста.
So, if you want to look for some space, I mean, like yesterday, go in the hallway, look for your place in the neighborhood. Yeah, for now.
Возьмите коробку с маркером.
Ребят, кто-нибудь коробку вынести сюда с маркерами.
So.
Целевое использование бюджетных средств.
Каждый свою презентацию делает.
Левым верхним углом пишите текст, сами из ключевых слов.
А на английском можно?
In 1 minute we continue with the lecture, so I take time later on, okay? Because we have to move. Yeah, we have time later on, no problem. So 1 minute, lecture will go further. Yeah? Okay, cool.
Ой, ведь потом у него спросят.
Safe about things. Safe things.
Серьезно? Извини, я не сразу поняла твой номер.
Типа саморазвитие, там, self.
Конечно, гроз.
Сколково.
Так как будто дозор. Устанавливаясь традиционным, надо раскрасить. Зачем? Если второй, то точно закроется. Читать дизайнер. Читать дизайнер. Закрашивать. Или как это? Артбой делать. В принципе, у меня тоже закрашивать. Маркер.
Okay, everyone. I know it is a bit of a task. Welcome. Wat komt eruit? Okay, this was just an exercise, and you can already see how hard it is to find unique keywords that really match your product. Some people find it extremely easy, but I can see a lot of people who have got really intelligent and complicated, you know, even websites, website ideas, or communication ideas, or service ideas. And for example, the word free is too general. It's something that everything can be free, of course. Every object is free in a sense. So I hope everyone, and if people still have questions, you can always approach us. We're here also tonight and tomorrow during the day, but and of course the whole week. But we will continue now with these 3 words that you have found and that you have categorized as something unique for your own project or your own product or your service or what it is. And that's very important. If you only think in general concepts, you will never differentiate yourself from the competition, because if you can't really communicate what is so special about your product, it's very hard for people to really understand, and for normal people, because you guys are already 1 step ahead mostly, and maybe sometimes 10 steps ahead in technological thinking. So we need to bring it down really for your consumer or for someone who's going to use it. So that's the kind of level we should be thinking on as well. Everyone get it? Okay. So this is like the basic principle of a visual identity. So you have to stand out with the competition. And you have to do that by finding a unique visual story. So with these 3 keywords, we will make images. So you have had a whole story, you've boiled it down to keywords, and now you're there with 3 words left. And now it's interesting to see if you've picked the right words. Because if you look now for these words, and we have to look, I mean, I'm going to give you the assignment soon to all look independently online on your own iPad or your laptop to look for images that match these words. And this can be a lot of images.
It should be a lot of images.
It should be like the same thing that we did with the keywords in the beginning. A lot of keywords, bring them down to 3 keywords. We're going to break it open with images again. So, for example, if I know someone has a car and or some automated car, a robot or something. So I'd like you to find all keywords like with a car. What is of course a car, we all know a car, but by using metaphors. So a car can be a vehicle that, can be something that moves, that takes you from one place to another. So, but a car is a very kind of concrete object, of course. But I want you to think in kind of the metaphorical thing with your keywords. What kind of behavior does it have? So I don't know if anyone got an example, maybe so I can explain it. Who likes to go in front and explain their project quickly? Anyone? Well, not the same ones. You, yeah. I haven't spoken to you yet, so okay. Ta-da. So, it's you're making a web service for people who want to gain their fitness goals but don't know how. So, they'll connect you to a real trainer, they'll take you online, make individual training program and lead you to step by step to your goal. Get supported all the way, the new body and good health, spend 4 times less comparing to a real training and gym. So this is an online coach, right? He's helping you. So trainer, coach, or coach, help online. Well, I mean, it's about sports as well. It's about fitness, right? So it is coach, fitness, online. That's basically something that is more unique than trainer and help, because help, can be anything. Oh, no, but let's say a coach, for example. I want you to think in like, first you're probably going to type in the word in Google anyway. That's how I start all the time. You just type the word in Google, you see tons of coaches, or like a mentor. So here, you're already making a metaphor here, like a step, the next step, how you can look for these images as well. So it's a mentor, it's someone who teaches you, it's someone, who takes you by the hand and all this kind of stuff. So if you find, I mean, it can be someone, a metaphor can be, I don't know, your mom helping you out with your homework. There can be a picture of someone helping someone. These kind of images should come from these 3 words that you have found. So find as many associative images from your 3 keywords, basically. And that's going to be very hard. On laptops. Or...
What's the question?
No.
No.
This is
Image.
now it's pictures. Now it's pictures. Now I don't want to see any words anymore. Now I just want to see pictures that are related with your 3 words and that you think explain your concept well.
So what is about the metaphor?
That's a good question. Because a metaphor is actually a second step that you take. So I would say first look for just type in the word in some websites and you'll see a whole bunch of pictures.
And that's what the competition will do.
That's what the competition will do.
And that's that you want to avoid the competition. You want to be 1 step ahead of your competition. And like 90% of your competition will use the image you will find first. So you have to come up with a better image.
But that we will do later. I mean, I want you to collect a lot of images now relating these 3 keywords. So don't be too critical. Don't be too like, oh, this is not really what it is. If it's half of what it is, put it in, because that's really important now. And then how many? 100. Wow. Maybe. Yeah, you could do that. You'll have. That's a long time. Yeah. And because we're still trying how to get this logistically printed as well. So we're thinking of making an online gallery for you guys. But it's still in development, where you can upload these pictures. So you guys can, at the end of the week, hopefully, will have like all your projects online, so you can see the whole research that everyone has done, and it's hopefully quite interesting and learning for people how you take these pragmatic steps towards a visual. So if, sorry? Yeah, how much time? This is going to be taking a lot of time. So it's going to be almost the second part of it. First I have a small presentation on these pictures, so you guys know a bit more what to look for maybe, or what we mean with metaphors. Okay? Thank you. You can sit down. Yeah, we're going to go do it now. So let's say network. I've heard that here as well. It's a kind of a general name, and you see this straight away. People visualize it like this because it's a computer. but it can also be a bit more data network as well. But this is more unique. This can also be a network. This can also be working together, right? This is some entity that is one entity that has a relation with each other and it works in sync. That's what you try to say with a with a network as well. Or this can be a visualization of a network. So social, this is a kind of a cliche image, but you know, this is also social. And this is also social. So it's a bit more, it's going over the cliches and just finding kind of images that really, you know, they can be spontaneous images what you think about as well. Because that's mostly when creativity, when uniqueness starts, is when you look out of the box. This can also be social. Warm, maybe for you guys not, but this is, of course, color for socialism. So transparent. You always see these pictures with people who say we're transparent. Like, we're an organization, we're transparent. What does that mean, transparent, you know? I mean, does it mean glass? Does it mean water? What do you mean with transparent? So transparent is a kind of a general descriptive here, you can see. And you need to use metaphors to get transparent in a kind of a visual way. So if you say this, and I would leave the word out, transparent, you wouldn't guess this was transparent. Whereas this would already be a bit more obvious. So, image is information. And, of course, I see it here, we all learn to express ourselves in language. And this is already from kindergarten. And we never really express ourselves in images. But images really tell more, of course, than 1,000 words. It's a famous saying. And images tell stories. So I'll show you some. So this is like an image that is actually related to this information. So it tells a lot more of why, you know, you can see there's like these plastic bits and that's why the birds died. And this is like a metaphor to use to what happens if 2.4 pieces of plastic end up in the ocean. So it's the result of what you're trying to say. Here is also a nice illustration made from the old drawing, Japanese drawing. It's all made up out of these bits as well. So it's a kind of an artwork made out of all these bits, which have a kind of a metaphorical, like a doomsday, you know, the tsunami is coming. So it more or less creates a kind of visual that is different than just the text 2.4 million pieces go in the sea. So you see already here it's important to look at what happens or what images can you find with your keywords that are maybe related but are the result of your keyword. So someone was saying it's easy, then maybe the person is smiling. Then it's a smiling person at the end, you know, because that's easy, and because of it, it's easy, you see a person being happy. For example, that's what you want. So, but how? I don't know if you know this map.
It's the map of the Napoleonic bases.
Yeah. So, this is a very interesting map to see. I mean, this gives a ton of insight on a whole different kind of level with temperatures and the troops moving front and battling and going back again and almost ending up with no one. But there's a lot of, this is a kind of a visualization of a lot of different aspects that were around that situation at that time. So it gives a kind of a visual insight on where the people died and how, you know, how the group diminished from a big group in the beginning to a small group in the end. This is a campaign we also did. This is for example, you can use these elements to make, well, I'll leave that for now. What do you think this is? Yeah, it's fish is the application. But this is actually all the words that are used in farewell letters in death row in Texas. So people have got always write the last letter before they're being executed in jail. And this is the quantitative kind of representation of how many times the words were used, of a lot of letters. So you see love is definitely the biggest one that they use all the time. So it gives a kind of an insight of what a person was thinking at that time. You see it very small. There was an innocent. People won't say that in the end. People will say love. That's very interesting to see what happens if you visualize data like this. And this, of course, is a visualization which you all know as well. You were already saying kind of tool you use. This is a visualization of. In Holland, we had a big budget cut now for the cultural sector because of the crisis. And this is like to show how much money we are being cut. And of course, the whole cultural sector is suffering from it. But how much this is in proportion to what we are using other kind of state money to as well. So this is, this is what we are going to buy a lot of planes from the Americans, the Joint Fight Striker and Strike Fighter. And this is actually the part that was being used for our art. So you see that a lot of money is just wasted on weapons. And there are different kind of visualizations as well. So this is about war, what we use to go into war as well. Every year we do missions, we do stuff like that. And how much the budget that we are being cut is compared to the whole budget that we use on different kind of things. So here you can see the relative kind of aspect of this information working with each other. This is also a nice one. This is like this is a way to show how much space it actually takes up to transport 60 people just by car, bus and bicycle. So by far the bus is really the most economic space. So this is statistic and numbers can begin and end as images. So this is about HIV contamination around the world. And that's a lot of data. That's this, just maps, data, you can already see. And how can you visualize this in another way? So here you see is on this time, there are worldwide 39 million people with AIDS. And here you see the different kind of continents as a kind of, here you can see the relativity of people here in Africa, of course. There are loads of people who are suffering from this disease. And just by post-its, you can already see the quantitative kind of qualities of this thing. But also on a different level, you can be really artistic and make something kind of insightful for where the first known HIV person was, which was in Japan. And here you can see it going down as a kind of a timeline, which is, someone has been really creative on this one. Or you can say in Asia, there are 5 to 6 million people infected with HIV, and that's that's every third person in Holland. So if you would use that kind of same kind of relation, you would see that it would have the same, that you could just use it as a picture in the streets, and then it would be 1 out of 5 every time that, or 1 out of 3 that would have AIDS actually, if you would translate that to the Netherlands. So you get a kind of, so people get a kind of straight feel that it doesn't become abstract, but it becomes really close because it's visually represented on the streets. So it's data, image, and here you go. So you go from complete kind of abstract data, you go towards the end, and here you visualize it in a kind of a very powerful message that, these are actually people around you who could suffer from it as well. This is a nice one. This is a project by Amnesty, and it's about all the women who are in prison in Iran. I'll just show it quickly. political prisoners. So this is a real nice campaign. So this very powerful kind of thing is they combined just the surroundings from the streets around them with the whole idea of women being imprisoned or political prisoners. And I think it's a very clever kind of thing to make something very insightful and, you know, to get the attention of people, because that's really what you want. So this is also something, it's a very easy thing. This was the Deepwater Horizon oil spill, of course. So how much is that on the Netherlands? It looks like big. So this for me is abstract, and suddenly it starts to become real, because I notice I combine two things with each other. One I know, and the one is abstract, and I combine them. So infographics can tell you much more. This is about movies. This is like the first day a movie comes out, and you can see the day continuing with other movies coming out, how many visitors a movie gets. So, and it actually comes from a text. This is someone who's written a whole kind of report about this, and someone visualized it, which makes it much more insightful. And you see straight away kind of connections going on between different variables. Yeah, this is just funny. This is also, yeah, my playlist, of course. You know it. There's a program which just straightly shows you how to show kind of your usage and how much you play it. And it starts to become kind of, suddenly you start to see a whole kind of roadmap of what you were listening to, which can also be insightful and adding to your kind of visual story of what you want to say. If you only put like 65 counts or 65 counts, you don't get an insightful view. But if you look at this, you see, wow, I've been playing that at that time of the day, that many times and that many times. So it's interesting for the user to get kind of additional information just by treating it differently. This is a graphic designer called Nicholas Felton. He lives in New York. And every year he makes an annual report about him as a person, what he did that year. So he quantitizes it all in statistics. So he says, I have this in relationships and friends, and how many, and how many dinners he had, and where he has been, and the whole roadmap, how he's moved as well. And every year he makes a kind of, you know, a personal kind of yearbook of where he's been, which is a real kind of clever idea to see, to see what he's really up to, you know. This also, truth about sex. It's a metaphor. Everyone knows what it is, but just vegetables. So it's a kind of a clever way on how to, you know, visualize a very sensitive kind of story to the outside world. This is actually quite cool, with the zippers on the right level. And also, this is a statistic just by using an image. So information becomes part of the image. This is a nice experiment made by a colleague. Sample, he was testing typefaces and how much ink it was using. So which would be the most ink-friendly typeface. So he just used a pen for this to really show it. So he has all these different typefaces. And here you can see how much ink it uses. Just a simple experiment, and just already you can see, okay, this typeface is the most efficient. This one, of course, and the Cooper Black and the Impact are really using a lot of ink. So if you want to show a kind of eco-friendly way of designing, you go for the Caramont. So this is also just this is the most kind of obvious thing to do. Buy a pie and do it like that, you know? So that's also just different than just making a pie, but here you already have a kind of a visual nice representation. So it's the same thing. But it can also show it can also make something that is actually quite boring, make it a bit more vivid. So this was an inventor, and normally he would have a picture like this in a magazine, but it's nice because he's really enthusiastic about his invention, of course, and you want to show that in a certain way. So as a kind of reader, you get more of a kind of, you know, vibe of how this guy is really enthusiastic about his new product. So it's a way just on photographing or doing things that you get a more of a kind of a dynamic visual. We made a newspaper as well, and the newspaper was mostly based on pictures, and it went really nice. And then one day it said, it had an article about a monkey or a gorilla that escaped from the zoo, and it jumped over a ditch. And most newspapers just put the monkey in there.
It was a really big thing in Holland.
Yeah, because
Really important. We were
was a
all
big
talking
one.
about it. Oh, he escaped.
yeah. So everyone was putting a picture of a monkey in there, but everyone knows how a gorilla looks. You know, I mean, there's just a few of us who don't know how a gorilla look. As a kind of a reader, I would like to know, how big is that ditch? How far did he jump over it? So we decided to only put the pictures in of the ditch that he jumped over. So this is like the gap, and he jumped all the way, and we were the only newspaper who actually did this. So it's a kind of an additional information that you would like to read as well as a viewer. That's kind of interesting to watch, rather than watching the obvious, the monkey. And here's just the middle, and this is actually a funny thing, is that this is the middle page of the newspaper, and you would normally think text, people would look at text or take so much time reading text, but after a lot of, we did a lot of research, people stick the most to this page. It took them the longest time to read it, because there's so much information in visuals that it's much more kind of informative than just a plain text. So it takes also a long time to read as well, obviously. That tells something about the quality of our readers, maybe, but... So also other examples. I probably know this, I don't know, but this is a project about food consumption by family and different regions. So it's a real nice way to show the kind of quantity that people consume in different cultures. Well, they're not good off here. $1.23 a week. And of course, the pizza boys from America. So we go back to food.
What do you think? What this is about? We show you some slides.
Sugar.
What? Sugar?
Sugar.
What, the amount of sugar or?
Kids. The same. Sugar is in bottles and
Mm-hmm.
Okay, okay. More?
This is actually a representation of what you saw before in words, and that was what people write in their last letter when they go on death row and they are being executed. This is the last dinner they had. So you can see, yeah, so many Cokes. He was really he wanted to have enough for afterwards, probably.
But the thing is, when this image appears here on the screen, it's just an image. But if you know that it's somebody who get death sentence, then the image appears to be really different.
So there you go. But, you know, be careful what you do also when you guys are now going out and looking for your own kind of images, that you pick the right one. Because when information is connected, it's very hard to let it go. For example, Pepsi, they redesigned their logo and it looked like this. And within 2 days, people start doing this. So, that's a bad choice, right? Yeah, I mean that designer really has not got a job anymore, I think. So, yeah. Well, I mean, it does. I mean, it's very obvious actually that to do that. How could he foresee that? Yeah. Well, this is hard to foresee, but it does have kind of a big kind of thing, and suddenly it starts to, you start to draw in it.
Yeah, the
So
roundness.
The roundness, I think it is just badly chosen, So I want you guys to this you can do all individually and all in the time now, is to find as many images you can find to your 3 kind of keywords, and you can just save them in a kind of folder, hopefully, on your laptop or wherever, and just categorize it into 3 folders, and then later on we can go through them. But only images that are related to your keywords, yes. But you probably look for, and then together we will go through the kind of uniqueness, what really tells the story about your project. So you can, I'm sure you'll know, definitely you guys know how to, you've probably already written an algorithm on doing this in 2 minutes, but you can find, the different kind of sites, the obvious sites in which to really look for these kind of images. As I see?
It's a free stock site. You have to make an account though.
Okay, that's it. Yes. Yeah, well, you're already one step ahead, but yes, you can. Just collect as many images that relate to these keywords as well. So you stick to the kind of the core, what you think your project is about. So this is also about defining the kind of essence of what you do, right? And then translating this into a nice image. And then, just to give you a peek, we're gonna, of course, combine some images to create a unique set for you, what really works.
We have another 20 minutes before the coffee break. There are some other people who want to talk about the story and finding the keywords. We are 20 minutes here to talk about it. Then we have a small coffee break. Then after you can continue with finding images, searching for images. We will be here, so approach us. We're not walking around all day. Just come here and,
How much time do we have to find?
I think you'll definitely...
You'll need the 2 hours.
Yeah, you'll need the 2
Definitely,
hours,
yeah,
definitely,
yeah.
because that's how long it takes. So you can do this wherever.